Hello, my name's Alan, my pronouns are he, him, and tonight I am facilitating the third of 4 sessions of my own game of supernatural thriller espionage against the Dark Conspiracy. We are against the Vampire Conspiracy, part of a continuing continuity that is growing on the Gauntlet RPG community. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please do look us up, Gauntlet-RPG, and come play with us, because we think it's really fun playing with us, or we wouldn't be here. Do you want to know more about the Gauntlet? Please go check out episode 1. Want to know more about the game? Please go check out episode 1, because I am keen to push on, because we are starting pregnant with the possibilities of our operation. We left all the prep done, ready to start the operation in this session. I will just say to everyone that we are playing Lines and Veils. I've just had a check-in. I don't think they've changed. I'm not aware of them having changed since last time. Everybody here knows that we are playing with Lines and Veils, layer safety tools, Lines, Veils, X-Card. The open door is there. And we're also playing within the Gauntlet Community Code of Conduct, which is a really solid document that if you want to run on games online, you should look at. Or in fact, run games, actually, when I think about it. Yes, we are in Moravia. The team have followed a lead. The overall arc of this series is about finding a known vampire who is at least old. So this could be the first potent, genuinely potent vampire that any team in this extended continuity has encountered. Though people talk about having killed Dracula in the Greek mythos underworld, but that's just stories people tell. So this is Finding Throndal, and Count Simon Throndal. The team have discovered that his family still has significant holdings in Moravia, in the eastern part of the Czech Republic, and they have been drawn there by the clue, the belief that a legal firm that does all his legal work, which I think I've called CWE in the end. I think we had to change the name so it wasn't a real law company. So CWE, where all his legal work is done, the team have scoped out the building. So as we start, I will check in on this, but I've fleshed out as much as I can the objective. So the objective of this operation is to get the secret files in the vault that will provide leverage on or details of Throndal and his powers. So it's as broad as I could cast it. Find out more about Throndal, so in the next episode you can confront him, I think is where we're going. So they're after the files in the Throndal family lawyers. Last time you have building plans that show some potential links to the old mine workings, because Moravia is riddled with ancient and deep coal mines. So there are some links to old mine workings below Ostrava in Moravia. A stakeout revealed that the front door reception, looks pretty standard, i.e., no obviously armed guards. It looks like a high-class head office of a multinational legal firm in a surprisingly small town, but nonetheless. We also know that there's a private cleaning company with I call it unstable staffing, but what I mean is unstable staffing. What I mean is that that the staffing has a degree of turnover in terms of the personnel, I think is what we meant. The worrying thing about this office block is that the 8th floor corner office, it has 8 floors. The 8th floor corner office always has the drapes closed, which has become in many of these series a signal that is somewhere to be worried about. What the legal firm is doing is legal legwork on an ongoing thread within this developing continuity. Legal work on the Van Helsing bloodline, but the key person involved in this is a senior partner, Ilishka Dimitrova, her. Her family is the right hand of the Throndals across generations, as far as records go. And one of our characters with a connection to that kind of supernatural world believes that they are reputed to be blood mages, the vitae directly powering their spells. So that is in essence what we know. We also know that there is a parking garage next door to the office building, and Mia, one of our characters last time, worked out that there is a secure line, that most of the building has a fairly standard commercial, safe, secure, but not hardened data system. The 8th floor and a data line to the parking garage is a different question. That seems to be a hardened data system. So that's my reminder to the team, who will now introduce themselves. Let's, for a change, go right to left on the character keeper. Puckett, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Mia Smith.
Hi there, my name is Puckett. I use he, him pronouns. Today I'll be playing Mia Smith, who is a hacker, gadgeteer, tinkerer, who, well, doesn't really like vampires that much, and is quite commonly able to find interesting ways to cause them difficulty, whether it's getting the holy water or getting the water blessed in an airport's pipes and then turning on the fire suppression system, or, well, blowing up the top couple floors of their hotel. There's a variety of ways that Mia messes with the vampire conspiracy.
And that plays into her technical expertise, among other things, as well as being the team's hacker. Sorry, just turn my do not disturb on. Moving along then, let's Anders, introduce yourself, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Timothy Warrens.
Hello, I'm Anders. I use he, him. I'm playing Timothy Warrens, a defrocked Catholic priest who used to investigate saints and darker things, but he discovered, or at least started to suspect, that the Catholic Church wasn't entirely on the up and up. Weird. How could that ever happen? So now he's working with these guys instead, and tracking down some of these dark, evil creatures that the world needs to be rid of.
Indeed so. And then moving along, Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Anton Zakpal.
Hi, my name is Will. My pronouns are he, him, as are those of my character, Anton Zakpal, who is a, what they would have called at Oxbridge a legacy, but of a very dark and nefarious kind. He has basically been training to fight the darkness his entire life, and discovered that he was actually a tool in the wrong hands, and he'd just been taking out the conspiracy's rivals rather than the darkness itself, and so he's hoping to set that right.
And he and actually Timothy Warrens are playtesting the cult or occult service background, and Anton is playtesting the law expertise. So we are, at some point, we're going to see that go off, I'm certain. And finally, Sabine, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Dylan Hepst.
Hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. I'm playing Dylan Hepst. He is maybe the False Faces, I think the name of what he's doing. He talks to people. He talks to the right kind of people. He talks to the wrong kind of people. He talks a lot, and mostly people tell him stuff and give him stuff and let him do stuff that they maybe shouldn't, because and he's mostly in this, well, he's a lot in this because he will tell you because it's the right thing. You have to fight these evil monsters. But really, it's a lot of it, it's just he could just settle down in his hat store in Baja California in Mexico and be happy there with his boyfriend, and where nothing very weird or strange ever happens. But instead he goes vampire hunting because A, he likes Mia, B, he likes kind of the challenge. I think it's more the challenge. He doesn't need to put his life on the line. It's not bungee jumping. It's more like seeing if he can take down a vampire. Can he do that? Is that really? I mean, there's a thrill to that, and also it is basically the right thing. He could be rich and he could take down NGOs and stuff like that, but he doesn't do that. He takes down vampires. So not
and yeah, the thrill is worth it, isn't it?
So far it has been.
Indeed. So I've sketched out the broad layout of stuff. At the minute, I have 4 heat to play with, so the conspiracy is still technically just suspicious. And as I look across the characters, Mia is sitting on 3 stress, Timothy on 2, Anton on the minimum of 1, Dylan on 2, and the other resource available to them, I'm seeing Dylan has 2 intel, Anton has none. I'm seeing 2 for Timothy, and Mia sitting on 3 intel. So reasonably well balanced. But keep an eye on your stress. So I think the first question I have to ask, given the layout and what you found out about it and what I've reprised now, I suppose my starting question is front door, back door, working day, outside working day. Let's start with the working day, outside working. Well, that's the front door, back door, through reception or alternative entries. Anton?
I mean, it feels like to me if there's an underground mine network beneath the city, and it's a really tempting thing to go through tunneling.
Okay, so we got somebody speaking for the going in through, but does that mean you want to go looking for an entrance to the mine network, or the suggestion that the parking garage provides an alternative route in?
Oh, I mean, I think I want to go through the mine, because the best way in is always through the wall, not through the door.
Okay, so we've got somebody speaking for finding a way into this network of mines. We've got some plans which would probably show a couple of potential points of entry. Or anybody want to speak up in favor of going in the front door? Or indeed possibly splitting the group and doing, 2 ways out.
I would suggest actually splitting the group again, because I think it is maybe a wise idea to create some kind of distraction, not put all of our eggs in one basket, right? Not just go for the safe, or just see what happens if something goes wrong, because if something goes wrong, there still might be someone in place to, I don't know, blow something up.
So that seems to be speaking to going in 2 places with the idea of creating some kind of distraction that then team B could exploit. What about Timothy? Where's Timothy sitting on this? As you sit in a grubby apartment somewhere. We've not defined a safe house in Moravia, because I'm a long way from getting close to hitting it, to be honest.
I don't think I have a strong opinion on. I mean, I'm fascinated by the parking garage, and I think it would be useful to check it out. But
let's abandon the going through the mines then. Anders, if you want to go through the parking garage, let's go through the parking garage.
Well, I want to go to Mia just to check in with Mia.
I am I mean, as you knew I would be when you laid down that bit about the high capacity data line into the garage. I am fascinated by the garage, and I have an idea that maybe I can steal a utility truck and, maybe down some power lines as a distraction outside. And well, I'm American, so my thought of the thing is sit there and yell at people. I don't know if that's how it goes in Moravia, but it works in America.
Okay, so there seems to be some interest in an attempt to go in. Dylan, just let me check in. What I think I heard was the idea of go in through the front door with the intention of creating some distraction that allows Team B to go in through the back door or the garage door.
That would have been the intent, yes.
Okay.
If that seems useful at all, because if you all think you'd rather have someone who tells them, yes, we are absolutely an electrical company and we know all about these lines that have been taken down and it's terrible what happened, then I could do that.
The only thing I'd say about the taking down the power grid and stuff is that you don't start with that fictional positioning. You're going to have to create that fictional positioning.
Yeah, sure.
And okay, so that's what I think I'm seeing at the moment is front entrance, back entrance, and we'll argue the toss about who goes which way. But I'm then curious about, is this inside the working day or outside the working day?
I would first define what I'm going in with. Do I go in with Mia? Do I go in alone? What do you think?
Interesting question, because you are the obvious front door person.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think that you're probably with me because you're a language person as well. And I don't speak the language here. And, you know, I trust your ability to like yell at people and say, the power's out. What do you expect me to do about it, huh? I'm working here.
Sorry, what are we going to do about the garage if we don't have our hacker and there's a data line going out to the garage? I thought that was the whole reason we were going to the garage.
That's me on the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dylan's going through the front door.
No, I'm going to go with Mia then. I don't have to go through the front door. If you think that is more useful, because Mia won't get into the garage if she can't convince people that she has to go there, and if she can't talk to them, because
so we're all going through the garage then.
We're all going. Oh, I thought you were going through the mines. But,
yeah, I thought
no, because I said that after it seemed as though I was the only one who wanted to go through the mines. Everybody else seemed to want to go through the garage or the front door.
Oh, okay.
So as I said, let's abandon me splitting off and complicating the narrative 3 ways, and then everyone's ended up in the garage anyways through sort of osmosis.
I'm just interested in someone going through the garage, so I'd be perfectly happy going through the mines if we want to split it 2 ways.
Okay, look, I'm going to cap that conversation for a bit because we're going around in circles. I want instead now to go to the other question, which is working day or outside the working day. Timothy?
Timothy's preference is to go outside the working day. Easier to break in, fewer people around, that sort of thing. On the other hand, vampires, I mean.
Always a tricky one. What about Mia? Working day, not working day?
I'd say working day because it'll cause more confusion, more chaos. It's easier to slip away.
Okay, Dylan?
Definitely working day, because if we get caught, Timothy, you might be good enough to sneaking around not to get caught, but if you're caught out, it's far easier to slip off pursuit or pass yourself off as somebody who really should be actually here. Yes, if there's a working day and more people are around.
Okay.
Plus daylight, yes.
And what about Anton?
I think with the plan of cause and disruption, rather than distraction, loud thing, daylight makes more sense than nighttime, because nighttime distractions essentially draw attention to yourself rather than the other way around.
Okay. So we're split, colleagues.
We're 3 on daylight and
daylight.
Oh, sorry, you are.
Yeah.
So it looks like working day. As far as I can see, no one's going in through reception. Okay.
I'd like to propose that if Dylan and Mia are going in via the garage, then and they are going to do the whole hacking in, disrupting, causing a distraction, Dylan fielding any questions, and with a power line company or whatever, right? Then that does give us me and Timothy the perfect, while they're creating that distraction and occupying the public thing response, our intrusion expert and our occult expert are going into the basement, the underlevels, to go from the side while the alarms are all triggering at once. Oh, you can ignore the seismic alert because it's just the power supply coming back on or whatever, But
just so I'm clear in my head, no one's going into reception. Everyone's heading for the garage and going down rather than reception and going up. There's nothing
What about the 8th floor, though? I know I'm confusing the issue again. What about the 8th floor? Are we ignoring that? Do we say we put all our eggs in the basket for the safe? Because
I think we can play that one by ear.
Okay.
See what we've got going in.
Then I'm taking a suit with me.
So I think the 8th floor one is a question of do we focus on the objective that we've established, or does Dylan have a drive to go confront a vampire? Because I kind of I could see that for Anton, but I don't want to complicate it too much.
Because I do want to remind you that you defined the where as a subterranean vault.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, then let's just go and try to hit
That
that.
doesn't
and,
mean that there's nothing interesting on the 8th floor,
and if we go,
but it's
if
unlikely
we
to be a
have to
subterranean
take the
vault.
that would be a really that would break somebody's mind. Not mine, but somebody's.
Okay, so we are talking about the working day, and we are talking the garage entrance. Everybody's going in through the garage with the intention of Anton and Timothy heading down, leaving Dylan and Mia running interference. That's the broad outline, I think. Stop me and buy one if I've got that entirely wrong. So let's start with Dylan then, because Dylan, you are our disguise expert. You are our talker. What do we see as our operation opens?
Well, I mean, what we see is probably Dylan packing a bag, and it has, of course, electrical tools, like the most obvious ones, like this thing that you put into a wall socket, and then it goes beep if there's energy on it, and it's an extra beepy one, so you can just press a button and it goes beep. So stuff like that. And he will also pack a suit, and
You don't have to tell me what you pack.
yeah, I think it's a.
You have to tell me. As all I need to know is what's the opening disguise, and it sounds like the power company.
Yeah, the opening disguise is that I quickly Googled what power company guys wear basically in this country, and I'll find something that's dark and will blend in, some dark gray or something. If the other two guys are coming with us, they need something dark. So yeah.
So it sounds like I can assume you're light loaded, because you're pretending to be an ordinary member of the public.
Wait, no, I'm not light loaded, because I'm pretending to be a handyman. I pretend to be a worker. I have to carry a big bag because.
Okay. So how big a bag? Are we talking medium or heavy loaded then?
Medium, probably. What an electrical worker would lug around with him. Something I could easily touch, but
to be a substantial toolbox rather than a trolley you push somewhere, or a vast backpack. So right, mark yourself as medium loaded. Mia, if you're going in with Dylan, what's your cover?
I'm wearing a boiler suit and a ball cap, like the power company employees do for this.
Okay, and where are you getting that power company outfit?
Ask me no questions, I'll tell you no lies. But there's going to be some people who are going to have to explain a couple things to their supervisor.
Okay, well, which contact did you call on to get it? Let me be that explicit.
Okay.
Because Dylan gets a freebie because of disguise, but you need to work for yours.
Jurgen, the fixer who can provide stuff.
Then why don't you add Jurgen as your contact, and he's a fixer, he can provide stuff. So all you have to do is mark a stress, and you're as convincing as Dylan. You have temporary access to disguise until circumstances change. Yeah.
All right. And then I am carrying a heavy load because, well, I'm a utility worker. Of course, I've got like a tool belt with a bunch of stuff.
Fine. So Dylan has the small bag of stuff, because clearly Dylan is the person in charge. So they always carry the small stuff, and then there's a technical person who's got more equipment. Okay, I go for that. What about Anton? How are you going to get on the premises, or what do we see as you head down to the garage? Oh, let me just check. Dylan and Mia, are you going into the garage to create this difficulty, or are you doing this on the street?
I think you said we had to create the blackout before we went into the garage.
I need to know where you're doing it from.
Oh, I'll leave that to Mia.
Well, I don't think we would do that necessarily on the streets so much as we would have blown a transformer someplace else, which actually, now that I say it, is probably on the street just a block or so away.
So this is setting up one of those little tents around some junction and going to work on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
A block away. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Dylan and Puckett, Dylan and Mia, we see you, setting up your little tent over a manhole cover with the power company, block on the sidewalk and going to work on that. Anton, what's your thinking here?
My thinking is that we find some information on the these mines, right, and where they were sealed off as they enter the areas of the building, the law firm, and that we're going to essentially excavate our way through those tunnels, perhaps with some form of cool spy explosive-y type thing. But I imagine this will require me to call upon a contact to find the mine location. So perhaps
well, no, I don't, not for that. You might need it when you get into specialist equipment. But for now, I think what I'm imagining is you got the planner that Dylan charmed last time, gave you a plan of the building and where it connected to some of the underlying tunnels. So I'm content for you to have found maybe half a mile that way a sewer that crosses near one of these old mine entrances, and you have to lever away some boards to get into these more superficial mine tunnels. Yeah,
okay, that sounds
and then
fine.
you make your way towards the first sub basement or the second sub basement of the lawyer's office.
So we still need to get into the sub basement of the lawyer's office, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cool, that sounds good. I am declaring a medium load.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to run if I need to, but I do want to have as much gear as possible. With that in mind.
Timothy, the only thing that I think we're guaranteed you're going to need at some point is your breaking and entering kit. But how are you dressed? What are you trying to be somebody else, or are you just dark clothing and a backpack?
Yeah, I think where we're going, I don't think we'll be able to just pretend that no, we're just here walking around, it's fine. So yeah, but dark practical clothing, backpack, and probably some kind of not like maybe something like not like a tactical vest, but something where you can have some sort of attachments.
That sounds like medium rather than heavy.
Yeah, definitely medium. Yeah.
Fine. So if you mark medium, then those of you on medium have 5 equipment slots and can have anything that is marked with 1 little square or 2 little squares. You can't have anything marked with more squares than that. A heavy loaded Mia can have anything that her heart desires that's on the list, or you could reasonably convince me you could access. As I say, we've not defined the safe house, so we don't know what the safe house benefit is. The first time someone declares something that fits into the safe house benefit, I will just check in with the rest of the group whether they're happy for that to be the declaration, okay? But I noticed tech equipment and explosives is in the same category. So it seems like that might be a good thing. Anyway, so yeah, let's have Dylan. I think probably while Mia is doing the work in the tent, I think you are the person that's going to have to make sure you don't stand out. So I think that this is maintain your cover, expertise. All of you still have access to your expertise. That's most unusual at this stage in the game. So I think that you've got access to your expertise. That's gray and orange, the green stress dice, if you'd like to improve your chance of success.
Oh, well, I think this can't be too hard, right? We're just 2 regular working slobs, Joe's thingies here.
Let's just hope no one from the power company drives by.
It's a 6. No one from the power company drives by.
Okay, 6. One of those 6s is on the stress dice, so stress goes up by 1.
It's not a stress die. I didn't roll a stress
Oh,
die.
you didn't roll a stress die.
so,
Sorry. So you just get all the benefits of 6. You succeed brilliantly. Control will agree with you what extra benefit you get. So what extra benefit do you get, Dylan?
So
based on
maintain
your
your
convincing cover.
I think that the janitor of the law firm maybe notices us and comes by just to ask to check what's going on, and we're kind of not really bond, but he knows me now. He knows that I am I don't know, Pavel. What's a good Czech last name? Primschlit, and then he knows that. He knows my face, yeah, or the face that I'm presenting him with right now. So
I'm going to leave it open as to exactly what role they fill, but they are an employee at the law firm, and they recognize Dylan as being with the power company.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would hang over when you if and when you next meet him. You mark intel because you rolled a 6. But what is it that is currently making you slightly nervous?
There's some of these people that are going in that law firm. They have, people work into law firms, they wear their best suits, right? And these people, they all have little things like signet rings or amulets or stuff that have occult symbology on that. And that's odd, right? That's not what you expect a law firm. That's the kind of people in serious suits with that kind of stuff that, well, okay. Yeah. And I'm rolling for stress.
How do you feel about the idea that they all have those little kind of lapel pins? And often that's true of companies, but the way that the letters of CWE are interwoven reminds you of one of the things you've seen Anton searching on the net. Does that hang together?
Yep. Definitely, I like that.
And that's enough to demand a roll for stress, please.
Okay. Stress goes up.
Stress goes up by 1. Okay. Mia, while Dylan is running interference outside so you can have as much time and effort as you like, what do we see you doing inside the tent with this transformer?
First of all, it's opened up, and I am putting just a couple of little devices that I've crafted on it so that I can actually control power and make it seem like it's intermittent, knock it out with the press of a button from a remote location, basically just putting interrupters on it.
Okay, now that sounds like tech equipment has now been declared.
Yes.
Yeah. So unless anybody objects and is desperate to have automatic weapons or heavy weapons come out of the safe house, I'm going to tick the tech equipment explosives. Okay. We won't roll for that until it matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I just have the tech toolkit instead of
Oh, if you'd prefer to take the tech toolkit, yeah, you can. Yeah, and then we leave that box unticked for now. Because you've got technical skill, you get the tech toolkit, come what may.
All right.
Okay.
So there's my tech toolkit.
And so we see you inserting these timers, which, or not timers, but, a remote way to do something to the power. This is power, not data, just so we're clear.
Yes, power.
And we'll see how that goes if and when you have cause to press a particular button. Yeah?
Indeed.
Okay, but the fictional positioning is set up. Meanwhile, cut to the old coal mines beneath Ostrova. Please write in with appropriate pronunciations. Timothy, I'm going to come to you first because, you are Mr. Intrusion and Surveillance. And it seems to me, therefore, logical that you're on point. So what do we see you doing, Timothy, as you've gone down through the sewer, you've got through the kind of old boarded up or badly bricked up connection to some old tunnel that leads down to an older tunnel that leads down into these old coal workings. What do we see you doing now, Timothy?
Advancing cautiously, but not slowly, not tapping everything with a 10-foot pole speed, but definitely looking for power lines that seem more modern, because whatever they're doing, they probably need power. So that's a good thing to trace. And looking for other, well, tracks, not like footprints necessarily, but sort of traces of recent activity.
Fine. So trying to check, well, that sounds like roll to investigate to me. If anybody wants to, I think somewhere there's a head torch in the equipment list, and I don't think it weighs anything. So do we see you with a flashlight, Timothy?
Yeah, I think he's got the flashlight.
Can as Timothy pulls his hand out with the flashlight, right? Anton, reaches over and puts a hand on his, and then reaches into the little satchel that he's got and pulls out a pair of night vision goggles for the pair of them. And I can declare that technical
Ooh,
explosives things,
Nice.
because the problem with a
Fancy.
flashlight is that people at the other end of the tunnel can see you coming with
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
right?
Okay. I don't think I mean, I'll check it. I don't think you need to declare that, because I don't think night vision is sufficiently high tech. Maybe I should have thought of that. No, it's the equivalent
okay.
light. So it's the kind of thing that espionage folk have. So declare some night vision, mark the a box of gear, and so of course the screen goes vaguely green as we
That
now,
little hum comes up. Ding.
as we have Timothy's point of view as he makes his way through here. So I was going to take your expertise away without some light, but you've got night vision goggles now. So you are rolling with surveillance expertise. Do you want to include your stress dice to improve the chance of success?
Oof. Yeah, I think I will do that. That's all 3. That's a 6.
And
the
it's not on
dice is
stress.
just a 2.
That's so, but you lot are doing so well, all this intel and no heat for me. So on a 6, you get the minimum you need to proceed. Do you want this to be well traveled, or do you want to be coming through some tunnels that are not well traveled, Timothy?
I think we moved from tunnels that are not so well traveled into an area where there's obviously been some traffic.
Fine. So that's what you need to proceed, but you can also ask me 2 questions. Or if you can convince me, you could declare some stuff, because we're playing the version of the game where I've done a bit of prep, so I can't give you an entirely blank canvas.
Could I declare that they don't have surveillance cameras down here?
I think what you can do is you can declare that you spot them and avoid them.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Yeah, because now you've moved down into the more the bits of these tunnels that have been used. I think you are going to encounter some.
Yeah,
but not until you're close to your objective, i.e. a wall or some way to access the lower levels of the lawyers' offices. Fair enough?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Okay.
the sort of thing that he would be on the lookout for.
But that's one thing. What other thing do you want to ask me about or convince me about?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. So if you want to just give me something.
Or Anton, is there something that you've asked Timothy to keep an eye open for?
I don't think so in this area of the tunnels, because
maybe occult symbols.
Oh,
if there's something.
Well, we already found out there was no sign of activity, right? Like there was.
Oh no, you've moved from none towards some.
Oh,
so there is some activity now nearer your objective. So the closer you get to the sub-levels of the bank, according to your map and your sat-nav, you are seeing that there are occasional, not regular, but there are people who sometimes obviously inspect this, conceivably as part of the protection to make sure no one's down here blowing holes in the basement wall, for instance. So Timothy, right, I can tell you that the night vision goggles don't show it up well, but you see something in the wall, because these are old coal mines, so you know, everything is fairly dirty and grubby. But you know, there is something uneven about this section of wall, but uneven in an organized way. And the night vision isn't very good at giving you the detail, to be honest, but when you run your hand over it, you can feel that something has been carved into the wall here. Something quite complicated. Is this when you seek permission from Anton to put a torch on?
Yeah, I think Timothy pulls his night vision goggles up and points to the wall. There's something here.
And Anton just nods and kneels behind a stacked crate, and you know, is basically keeping watch to make sure that no one's he doesn't spoil his night vision, and he trusts that Timothy's going to shield that light as much as possible, right? You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's getting close to the wall, and he's got his hand around the front of the.
Anton knows that priests have got good light discipline.
And it is indeed carved into the wall. It is the Throndal coat of arms.
Of course it is.
Old, worn, been here a long time. I mean, you currently are probably, you think, 3 sub-levels down. So this has been here a long time. And is probably, you know, it dates from the mines. I think that's enough for that 6 to give you an intel and make you roll for stress. Because the last time you encountered a Throndal coat of arms, Timothy, it all got a little bit ooh and a little bit ah.
It's spooky. So I just roll the stress die, right?
That's right.
And that's a 1. I'm not worried at all.
Timmy's cool. Anton, what are you doing as you kind of let Timothy take point with the map and making his way towards what he thinks is a point of entry?
I am the sort of black-clad figure who is, you know, carefully moving up behind him, covering the corners and the doors and the walls. That's where they get you. You know, keeping an eye out, and maybe every now and again just holding on to like a you know, like some sort of maybe like jade charm that you always see around his neck, and just checking in every now and again, you know.
I'm imagining that there's a kind of running commentary between the teams in terms of, yeah, we're getting close. I think, you know, at this point, Timothy and Anton, you're probably about 50 yards from what looks to be the wall of the basement foundations of the lawyer's office.
Green down here. Say when.
Dylan and Mia, you've done the job. What's the plan now for the pair of you? Mia, what do you think is going to happen? Because you've set the job. Do you sit in the tent and just wait for the call?
Well, I think when the call comes in, that's when I hit that little button and knock the power out.
So you're waiting for, I mean, I'm just saying you don't need to be in the little tent to do that.
Nope. But on the other hand, we also don't want to be too quick on the spot.
Okay. So Dylan, you continue to run interference. Mia is waiting for the call. We see Timothy and Anton again, you know, light vision, then a little bit of torchlight to check, coming up to what is clearly a modern foundation wall. Yeah, a reinforced concrete wall that is sitting there at the end of this tunnel, probably obliquely, because there was no effort to kind of you know, arrange itself along this what was a seam of coal. So what are we going to see?
Is it? So it says we're going to break through the wall, right? Like that's the thing. I feel like that's the thing that we do after the power. So I would invite the other group to progress their drama forwards, so we can make a timed explosion. You know.
Do we see you deploying some kind of of breaching charge? These little packets of C4 arranged in a neat circle.
C4 and detonator, perhaps.
A C4 and detonator, perhaps.
Yes.
Now you've got tech tools and explosives, so one of you can simply declare that. Who's carrying that?
I mean, would it make sense for the intrusion person to be setting up the shaped charges?
I think that makes sense. It's the wrong expertise, but it's closer.
Yeah. I mean, it's at least getting in,
Yeah. Short of lassoing someone and setting it off, deadly wouldn't apply. So you've set up, Timothy. You've put these charges up, and then retreat a certain distance. And what signal do you give, Timothy?
Since it's a tunnel, you probably have to retreat quite far, and preferably behind the corner somewhere.
Yeah. What signal do you give Mia? What's the go signal?
In position, waiting for your go.
In the beginning, there was the word, and the word was go.
Okay, so let's have you press the button then, Mia. So this is, I think this is rolling to do something else, unless you've got something else in mind. With expertise, stress dice if you want it.
Well, gosh, with an offer like that, how can I pass it up?
Oh,
2 5s.
2 5s. Goes perfectly. So you hit it, the transformer freaks, breaks, stops working, whatever you've done to it, not permanently, because I guess you want to be able to turn it back on. And at the same moment, Timothy, let's have you see how that breaching charge goes. So you are rolling the gray dice, no expertise, stress dice if you want it.
I am definitely taking the stress die on this. So that's a 6 and not on the stress die.
Right, this goes better and better. Who knew Timothy was also not just could pick locks, he could blow safes. There's a kind of whoosh, and I guess we see dust rolling up the corridor, the tunnel towards you, and at the end of that you're coated in coal dust. But there's a perfect, crawl-sized hole. This shaped charge has gone like a bomb, and at the same time, Dylan, from your position outside the transformer tent, you can see people beginning to, some kind of alarm goes off and people begin to stream out of the legal offices.
Okay, interesting. It's interesting that they start streaming off out of offices like discipline like that, because usually office people, they start talking like half an hour before they go anywhere.
Let me stream out. They begin to leave the office. Yeah, okay, I don't want to create the impression that
it's not military, like, oh, we have to go now. No. Okay, that's not a drill.
They behave the way people behave.
Okay.
When something means they have to leave the building.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Then that's Mia. We on for hitting the garage, right? What was our reason for getting in there again? Tell me the tech words I have to use.
Power disruption traced to, the parking line in the parking structure where it broke.
Okay.
Just
okay, I got it. I'll take out my beeping thing and get out of the tent and look alarmed and have the beeping thing in hand and look around like I'm checking something, and then I'm kind of tracing the line, maybe with some gentle guidance by Mia, because I have no idea where that line is. And this is really a fake beepy thing, right, that I use to impress people. It can also do a Geiger counter stuff and all kinds of things.
It's basically your phone.
It's basically a phone, yes.
And with access to a range of YouTube sound effects.
Yeah, well, it looks a bit different so that people think it's really not just a phone. It's bright orange.
And I'm guessing, Mia, that you are carrying, all the equipment you think you're going to need towards the parking garage, yeah?
I am loaded up like a Sherpa.
Okay.
And I keep talking to Mia, at Mia really, because she doesn't understand a word of what I'm saying because I'm speaking Czech with her. But I will leave the odd pause where she will probably nod, and then we'll go on. And then we stand in front of the garage and look around for someone who can let us in there, because we need to go in there because electricity out, power out.
Is it just that building, or is it this block?
Oh, it's the entire, I shut down this section of the grid.
Yeah.
So
fine.
it's affecting all sorts of buildings.
Fine. So there are people coming out of a number of different buildings in the vicinity. Fine. And you're heading for the parking garage next to the lawyer's office. There has to be down underground that kind of, and then torchlight begins to appear in the dust as you approach the hole you've blown in the wall, Timothy. And it's black as night beyond there. What do you do, Timothy?
Yeah, night vision goggles.
And what, crawl through?
Yeah.
Okay, followed by Anton?
Anton will go first through that hole.
Okay.
Yeah, he will actually put a hand up and stop Timothy again. And he will go in, something metallic and sharp or whatever, glistening in the darkness, perhaps, to be declared later.
So Anton crawls through into the darkness beyond, and we see him, kind of lower himself out of the space on the other side onto what looks to be torch on, because it's still a bit dusty in here, must be said, from that explosion.
I mean, we've got the night vision goggles, right?
You have. It's just dust is going to get in the way of that.
Yeah, you know what? There's a quick scan with the night vision goggles to see no movement, no nothing, right? And then cautiously, because I think you said that flashlights don't even take a
No, they're
So,
an empty box, I think.
Yeah.
I'll leave you on the lawyer's office side of the wall and cut to Timothy on the other side of the wall, while in the other half of the screen we see Dylan and his beepy thing heading towards the garage, followed by Mia and a load of equipment. Dylan, you're approaching the kind of the guy who's on duty on this parking garage that clearly isn't open to the public. Timothy, what do you do when you feel a breath on the back of your neck?
Yeah, that's tricky.
Lots of dust settling on and around you.
Yeah, I think just turn around, see if there's anything there.
There is. It's almost like the dust is settling differentially in the space immediately behind you. And as the dust settles differentially, it picks out a three-dimensional humanoid shape. Is it a male or female shape?
I don't think it's possible to tell.
Okay. Is there anything about its clothing that suggests it is not from this time?
Yeah, I think the reason it's hard to tell what gender the person is because they seem to be wearing like a cloak. Maybe not with a hood, but definitely like covering the body.
And as the dust settles more on this, it's almost as though there is a volume of space in front of you that is differentially affecting the fall of the dust. So as the dust falls, it kind of shades in the upper surfaces. And as do you watch it, or do you
No,
run from it?
no. Timothy pulls a gun and shoots it.
Okay. Let's have you confront the conspiracy and its pawns. So confront them. You try to take it out. You want to shoot it dead, center of mass. You are rolling with expertise because you have small arms, stress dice if you want it. At this point, I do not think you were, because I'm quite surprised that you went straight for the gun, Timo. So no risk dice at work. Roll the dice that matter.
Yeah. So I definitely take the stress die. I have the expertise dice, right?
You
So,
do.
yeah.
All of you have small arms.
Yeah, 3 dice. That's the 6 on the stress die.
That's
So
probably not unreasonable, but this is perfect. You know, do you want to plug it twice? Bang, bang.
Yeah, it's bang, bang, bang. I think he doesn't stop until it drops.
Okay.
Or he's out of, or his magazine. Actually, no, like 3 shots and then he rolls to the side, because if he hit it 3 times and it's not dead,
I
then he
think
needs to get out
bang,
of
bang, bang is the perfect commercial break. So let's take our first break at that point then. It's our first one, so let's make it 10 minutes, back at 10 past the hour. I'll see you then. We're back for our first break, and the team have divided themselves, so I've not played a complication to divide them, but I have played controls complication number 1. I have 3 to play today. Super bad. There's a supernatural threat on the site at a level above what the briefing suggested. And I think the working assumption at the moment is Timothy just shot it. Anton, what do you do when you hear the shots go off?
I yell for Timothy to, I don't yell, but I like on the comms, and I go, Warrens, lead it to me. Come on, get to me now.
Well, Timothy, you fired and threw yourself sideways, and I can tell you that the bullets went straight through it because you saw the impacts. A little powder, more as the dust is settling now, you can see the impacts on the far side of the tunnel. You hit, 3 shots, center of mass, straight through it.
Just because Anders hasn't played this before, and he has that intel, would it be a good point to remind him of how he can use it to fight the supernatural?
When you encounter a supernatural, thanks, Will. When you encounter a supernatural, I will call it the thing. Go to the supernatural tab, thing in the tunnels for now. I have just selected a power for it, which is incorporeal. Yeah. You could spend intel to ask me about its compulsions. Now, because we're playing the semi-prepped version, I have a set of characteristics for these bad guys. So you could spend an intel, I would tell you or give you a clue as to what compelled it. Once you have a compulsion on the table, then you can move to deterrent and finally to vulnerability.
I will do that.
So I will reveal, as you move away from it, as you dive away from it, it moves towards you, and then it's almost like it runs into a wall. It's almost like there's an elastic band holding it in place. And I will give it a compulsion, bound to place. So it appears to be, it struggles to move beyond a certain distance from somewhere. Okay?
Yep.
And that costs you an intel. That opens the opportunity for a deterrent. Do you want to spend another intel so I could give you a clue as to what might deter it?
I don't know.
I tell you what, while you think about that,
yeah.
Anton has given you that tip. Dylan, you are approaching the entry to the parking garage with a clipboard and a beeping thing. The guy's notice coming and says, "What's going on?" Because he notices that you're in the power company overalls. There seems to have been a loss of power. What's going on?
we have a power outage, and there's something has been draining the system. We need to check this. We need to check this now, because things like that, if they come on again, they might cause electrical fires. And I will bombard him with information. That sounds like I know what I'm talking about. I hope he's not an electrical engineer.
I think that's unlikely. So I think you are rolling to maintain your cover, to be able to move on and do what you want to do. So with expertise, stress dice if you'd like it.
I think I will spend the stress die, yeah. Yeah, that seems like we should get in there before Mia has to shoot anybody. It's a 4.
There you go.
It's a 1 on the stress die, so
that's fine. So on a 4, he says, "Oh yeah, yes. Is there anything? Do I need to call anyone down from?"
No,
upstairs?
no, don't call anyone. Just look. We just need to let you do you, whatever is necessary, but we need to get through there before this takes out the grid for the whole city. And that means the hospitals and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you need me to show you anything, or?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The sooner you can fix
And
it, the
I
better.
will tell him, and I will tell him to check for thing over there, like breaker room or anything that I can pull out of my hat to send him over there.
Okay. And I think what I want this to be is one of those kind of great kind of swirling underground car parks that go down to a series of floors, because I just like the look of them.
Yeah. Nice.
And lines of sight are really crap. So you make your way down. What are you looking for? Mia, what are you looking for?
I am looking for, they probably have a utility closet somewhere, where they have all this stuff tucked away, because you don't want to just have it out in the open. So I'm looking for, as strangely as this sounds, I'm looking for the most nondescript, boring looking door in the parking garage.
That might hold a data cable? What is that what you're after here?
More or less.
Okay, so I just need to know whether your expertise would apply. So are you looking for something that might be a clue to where this data line goes to or comes from?
Yes, as well as, can I hack into it?
Oh, different question. Let's find it first. So with expertise, to identify or to follow, conduits, cabling, ducting, whatever might be the right thing to do. So expertise counts. Stress die if you want it.
Why wouldn't I? And there is a 4 on expertise on the gray die. There's 4 on the stress.
So stress goes up to 5, I will remind you. That might be why you want to think about stress, but so goes up to 5. And yeah, you can see, and it is built into this structure. You spot what looks like a bulge in the concrete that runs through the roof, the ceiling here, spiraling down towards the very, very basement level. Nothing, other stuff doesn't look, it doesn't look like the kind of thing that you would protect a data line. This looks like somebody's buried it in the structure of the parking garage.
Interesting.
So in terms of accessing it midway, that's going to require some significant, careful excavation. Your best bet is to maybe the end of it, because it has to interface with something somewhere.
Yeah. So as I think about this, I'm reviewing what I know and I'm focusing on the objective. So I'm going to spend an intel to reduce my stress to 4.
Okay. So down you go, looking for where some kind of accessible point might be. Timothy, you dived away. This thing moved towards you, and then kind of it's almost like, and when it moves towards you, it's almost like it moves against a sheet of perspex, and this volume of space flattens against it. And then you hear I have done terrible things. Have you come to help me?
Hmm.
Just want to stress that the things that you declare with your intel, those are suggestions, and I know Alan has this plenty of things in mind, but you could suggest alternatives as well with them. Perhaps they might fit, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to figure out how Timothy, because I feel like Timothy would he initially classified this as bad thing, shoot it. But now he might be reassessing.
Meanwhile, in your ear, Anton is saying, Timothy, where are you? Anton?
Still here.
What are you
Check
doing,
something-
Anton?
Wondering if he's still alive on the other side of that hole. But you know, knowing that if he's gone, then there's no point in going through because
I
I'll just be
think-
next.
I think
Yeah.
you're getting feedback.
Yeah.
But you're not hearing anything it says, by the way.
No. Anton's going to say, "Can you fall back, Warrens? Can you make it to this side? The mission's on this side."
Yes, there's a presence here. We may need to deal with it.
It appeared behind you when you were all set to go through the hole. So in terms of, you will have to find a way past it to get to the hole in the wall.
Oh, it's stopping him from getting to the hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I'd misunderstood that.
If you were to go further down this tunnel,
Mm.
away from the hole, it doesn't look like it could follow you.
Oh, so it's in
Oh,
between
okay,
me
okay.
and it's in between me
Exactly,
and Warrens.
exactly.
Oh, I thought I had it the other way around.
And
Yeah, sorry.
interestingly, Anton, if you look through the hole you've made in the wall, the night vision shows nothing. You flip it over to infrared, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It appears to be entirely ambient, and the sifting of the dust that's outlining the shape in torchlight is too minimal for the night vision to pick up. Really.
As I flick through it, I suppose. Well, basically, I'm going to take it out if Warrens isn't going to take a different option. I think if I can now see it through the, as I've clambered back through the hole slightly and I can see it, I could do something here, I'm sure. But
well, if you are, because this must be quite a decent thickness of wall. So I think you're kind of, you're crawling through it. Yeah. And as you get closer, it turns towards the hole and says, you hear a voice saying, "Can you help me?"
I can help you.
Can you release me?
Yes. I was just thinking about this. Is this a thing that I could investigate with law?
I would be very happy for you to investigate with law,
Uh-huh.
or you could simply spend an intel and I give you something more about it.
But you would have to have intel for that.
Oh, I see. Then by all means.
This is why I am. I was reminding about the rules because I can't do it myself.
Investigate with law, then. Yeah, I think what does this fill any categories of supernatural creature?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just bringing up the dice roller. That I get my expertise for that. I'm not going to roll stress. That's 5.
5. It's a shade.
It's a shade.
It's a ghostly after image. And what I think I can tell you is that they are often used as, let me write shade. They are often used as watchdogs or alarms. They're bound to a place and they protect access. Timothy, its attention drifts from you and it is entirely incorporeal. You get you can see the outline of it in the dust, but nothing else. Its attention is turned to the hole and Anton in it. Let's cut back to the parking garage where Dylan and Mia are following this, what you're pretty convinced, Mia, is the data cable that runs from somewhere in the office building basement level down to, you know, floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, floor 4, down to the very bottom of the parking garage. And as you follow this, it runs to what looks like a vehicle elevator, a vehicle lift. 3. Let's go down 3. Yeah, any further is too far. On the 3rd sub parking level, you're following this bulge in the roof that indicates the cable, and it disappears through the wall at a point where there is a vehicle-sized lift. What's your thinking, Mia?
I'm thinking I don't like this. I mean, this is really unusual. First of all, it's unusual to have this kind of cabling in a parking garage, especially leading to a vehicle-sized lift. I don't like that at all.
Well, I tell you what I'll do then, just to make things simpler for you. I'll play a complication.
Okay.
That says, it's a setup. Everything you've learned was fed to you to get you here in the conspiracy's crosshairs. As the vehicle lift doors open, and a woman you recognize as Eliska Dimitrova steps out, and her attention is on you, Mia, and she says, Yelena, your friend can leave as long as you stay until my master arrives. I will just drop you a hint here. The conspiracy board does include an operator called Yelena, who has been identified as being part of the Van Helsing bloodline. This woman thinks you are that woman, Mia. They've set a trap and caught the wrong mice.
So,
cut back to Anton in the sub-basement. Timothy first. Timothy, are you going to do anything?
Yeah. If the shade has turned its attention towards Anton, then Timothy will advance behind it. He will put away his gun because clearly that's not useful. And I think he will communicate with Anton. Can we deal with this quickly?
Anton, what's your thinking?
What is it that you want to, because I'm going to just banish it. I have magic stuff, right? And at the moment, it's a question of, so like asking me questions about it, Anton will probably just tell you that he's going to about to do a thing. So I'm just, okay. I'd love to know what is it that Timothy's advocating in this situation.
Because Timothy, being an ex-priest, his thinking is trying to lay this thing to rest, that sort of thing.
This is absolutely an unquiet spirit.
Yeah, but he's no longer a priest. I mean, he can perform sacraments or anything like that.
You're on a mission from God. Of course you can.
Yeah, you don't know how the Catholic Church works. So I don't either. I'm just going by
Anton,
culture.
What I think I'm at is confront the darkness, Dimitrova or her servitors / magics.
Yeah. I just wanted to see if the father was going to try and lay them to rest with spending of their intel for weaknesses and forgiveness, benediction from a priest or something like that. But otherwise, I think
I'm perfectly willing to do that.
It's whether you want to do that, Anders, I think is the question. Because I just don't want to step on what you're doing, you know?
I think that's something that Timothy would want to do, and I think it's a reasonably good use of intel at this point.
Well, if what you're saying to me is you want to spend 2 intel to get a deterrent and a vulnerability, I can give you a symbol of faith as a deterrent. And where have I put it? Oh, I haven't written it in. I'll type it in. I thought I'd put extreme deterrence, exorcism.
Now, I can't remember. Supernaturals have quite a lot. We'd have to get rid of all of its stress anyways before the vulnerability works, right?
I'm prepared to, if Timothy does it, this is going to be much more difficult than if you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the perfect. I've been dying for this since we found out it was a ghost and there was a priest next to the corridor, frankly.
Because, you know, you have a move called Harness the Dark, one of the effects of which is, you know, attract, distract, confuse, hide from, escape from, negate an existing ward, binding, or spell effect. So it is bound here. You could set it free.
I set it free.
Let's
and
have
then,
you.
And then perhaps the father may lay it to rest. You know, like.
Certainly, as Timothy approaches, you know, with his, he must have a crucifix, mustn't he? Still, you know, and it doesn't cost any gear. As he approaches with that, I think it does kind of shy away. And again, both of you will hear this. I have been here so long. Free me, Father, free me. Thinking that Timothy is where this is going to come from. Anton, let's engage with Harness the Dark.
Yes.
Try to use an invocation, choose the single effect from these categories. So I think this is negate the binding, isn't it?
It is negate the binding, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would success look like?
I think success would look like this shade no longer being bound to this place and being allowed to move on with the assistance perhaps of a priestly goodbye and forgiveness.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. And detail the effect and mark stress.
Mark stress.
What does this look like? Because I mean, we're supposed to work together to make sure that this is in keeping with the nature of the conspiracy. So how does this link to the darkness that you are confronting? Because it's the same darkness.
I think that as it sort of like drifts closer to Timothy, right, and it's sort of entranced and repelled at the same time by the holy symbol, and it's, you know, it's asking for his help. Anton's going to clamber back out of that hole and just very slowly reach into his pocket and pull out a tiny knife. And he says, you know, well, we must break the bindings before we can free it, and then just slash across his palm, because everyone slashes across their palm, right? And then spray of blood across, and he's going to slap that down onto the wall because he's, you know, it's bound to the wall by blood magic, of course, right? So yeah, and I guess I roll just the one dice. No, actually, don't use expertise in this one.
Exactly. You can always add your stress dice, though.
Yeah, I think I will add my stress dice, because a 6 would be really nice on this, on any magic spell, I think, you know.
Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
That's a 5 on my stress.
Stress goes up by another 1 then. On a 5, you succeed with no obvious complications or benefits. Timothy, how do you send it on its way? Because it's now freed. What do we see you doing?
I think he will say an appropriate prayer. I'm not familiar enough with
some words from the burial or the burial mass or whatever might be appropriate. Yeah. Yes.
Dust to dust, that sort of thing.
Oh, that's delightful, because then all the dust that has settled on this just gradually filters to the ground as it evaporates. And
he'll make the sign of the cross and then move on.
Fine. Back in the parking garage. Dylan, the attention's on Mia.
Oh no, the attention will be on me right now, because I will grab Mia's arm and I will look at Dimitrova, and I will tell her, I was supposed to get paid for this.
Oh, let's see you maintain your cover.
Yeah.
That's delightful. That's right? Delightful.
Sorry, Mia. I hope you know. Harmless.
Expertise and stress if you want it.
Oh yes, I want stress. I feel that this stresses me out because I mean, doesn't stress me out. I have
Strangely, it doesn't. You're in
doesn't,
control.
no.
You're
I
in
am.
control. And she
Yeah,
says,
I've done this before.
You've got her attention.
Mhm.
And who told you that you would be paid for this? And who are you?
You don't know. You don't know who I am, lady. I don't think it was Throndal, of course.
So are you trying to convince her that you have a connection to Throndal?
Sure.
I think you've bought yourself some time, but it'll take another roll, I think,
Yeah.
at some point to get
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
Mia, what's your reaction when Dylan kind of grabs you, puts your arm up your back, or makes it look like they've restrained you without restraining you?
Oh, I'm going to struggle and say, wait, what? Yelena, who?
I think that your relationship is such that I think you'll go with that. I won't make Mia roll to convince her, because her attention is now on Dylan. And very good. And you see her take out a phone and say, yes, I have her. Yes. 5 minutes? Good. And invites you into the lift.
Okay. Is that Dimitrova, by the way? Is that
Yes.
Lishka? Okay. Good.
Yeah. And of course, because of the conceit of the communications, you can hear the commitment of the dead to the sea or something being recited downstairs.
Very
while
helpful.
those of you in the sub basement can hear Dylan apparently betraying Mia and taking her into a lift with Dimitrova. Let's go back now then to, you're in the tunnels down here. I'm going to go to Timothy again on the ground, or well, you tell me, is this Anton taking the lead because of a potential threat, or is this Timothy taking the lead because you know you're going to have to find something and break into it?
I feel if the action, if the role is about moving through the tunnels, then it's Timothy. If the role is about we've spotted there are other people down here, it's Anton.
What you will notice is that the lights flicker on, and it's clear that at least this bit of the building basement has some kind of emergency generator that's kicked in. Yeah. So that would suggest it is possible there may be people down here.
Yeah. I think if Father Warrens would lead the way, I think it makes sense for the intrusion, because there's only 2 of us. If it's 30 of them down here, I'd rather not try and fight them all.
I think, Timothy, you make your way down this set of corridors. You're looking for any indication of ducting again, anything that would suggest that you're heading towards a central hub location, because that's where interesting stuff lies. And I think that you can hear a lift coming or going. Just, there's some machinery operating. And you come out into a large space, and on the far side, you can see there's a vehicle-sized lift in the wall. What do you do?
Look for a way to cut the power.
There are a handful of people waiting at that lift door. Probably one of those, wire doors, those kind of concertina doors, rather than a solid one.
Given the conceit that we are in comms,
yeah,
and that Dave just entered a lift, right? Is there any kind of we see a lift, and then Dylan or Mia going like, yeah, as part of a conversation upstairs that like sort of triggers in like responding to us as in like we're in the lift, just to know whether or not this is the lift that they're coming down in, or
yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I just say get in the lift there.
we're
And then
getting the lift, we're going down, right? Like, yeah.
I don't know that we were going down before she started pushing the button. I assumed actually we were going up, so going down is a surprise.
You're going
Well,
down.
and I will comment on this, of course. Oh, going down. Good. We have to have the split screen where we can see the counter inside the lift going, -3, -4, -5. Meanwhile, we can see a counter beside the door that Timothy and Anton are looking, going -3, -4, -5.
Anton's going to look to Timothy and say, I'll get them out of this. You go for the vault.
Which is a perfect segue to notice, Timothy, that set in one of the walls at right angles to your entry and the lift opposite, there is a large vault door.
Yeah.
Mia, what are you doing?
Does my power interrupter work down here?
I think your power interrupter has worked, but I've described emergency power coming on down here, and I have to say probably on the 8th floor as well. That separate hardened digital grid is going to have some kind of backup power, is my assumption.
Okay.
But probably as you're going down in the lift, you are spotting on the wall as you go down, floor at a time. It's this kind of open container lift. You're probably seeing this conduit that you spotted earlier that you were following going down the lift shaft. So that's probably the data line.
This is really
I will distract her. So you can do stuff. Sorry. You were saying something?
I can't get a Wi-Fi signal. I doubt this is even related to Wi-Fi. So I've got to actually get to the actual line, which means either cutting open the conduit or getting to a terminal or another access point.
I think that's probably true. I think that kind of summarizes the kind of physical security that's at work here.
So I can't stop the elevator from moving.
If Dylan distracted Dimitrova, you might be able to surreptitiously mess with the lift controls.
Okay. Is that going to be a roll on Dylan's part?
I think it's going to be a roll on Dylan's part, and then probably one on yours as well.
Fair.
I think the question is, if you stop the lift midway, the question then becomes, what are you going to do? Just as long as you've got an objective in mind. That's all I'm.
So
spotting.
I noticed in side chat that Anton is saying, I'll have the welcome mat laid out for you. So I think right now I'm just going to go along with what Dylan is saying. And as I hear that come across the comms, I kind of wriggle a little bit and struggle and say something along the lines of, trying to figure out what I could say in code that would let Anton know that Dylan is not actually betraying us, that this is just Dylan doing a cover thing.
Anton never thought for a second that it was Dylan betraying us.
No,
okay.
I think
I have been
Anton
betraying you. I wouldn't have told you to get into the elevator and that we were moving down.
Yeah, I think that the interchange between them suggests that there is a communication of sorts going on.
Gotcha.
So I don't think you need to worry about that.
In that case, I'm gonna go along with it until something changes and I see something that my expertise can actually do something effective with.
Okay. So you know, Dylan.
I will push you towards the controls of the elevator just because that's where you're supposed to stand, so I can stand closer to Dimitrova and talk to her about mystical stuff.
Well, yeah, honestly, we do want to make sure that the elevator stays where we want it, where we need it, instead of like getting called up to go someplace else or do something different.
And
So
we'll play with the elevator.
So, you know, I mean, you've not got a lot of time here. So I think the question is whether Dylan can buy you some time and what Anton does when those lift doors open. And then what Timothy does.
There are already people down there, aren't there?
Handful of them, yeah.
A handful, yeah.
Look, they're obviously waiting for the lift to come down.
Yeah, I'd like to take them out before the lift comes down.
Okay.
Yeah.
At a distance, or are you going to run across the, you know, because it's probably about 20, 30 paces?
I mean, it would be super cool to do another Black Widow style run out of the darkness and suddenly kind of thing, right? If that's a thing that I could do with the fiction, I'm not sure if I'd need to.
I think that you can certainly run at them. I think that we'll make a judgment on the quality of the risk die on whether they see you coming.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, because it is emergency lighting down here. Emergency power has come on, so there are pools of shadow. You know, this would be, you can look at it would be brightly lit, but it isn't because the auxiliary power's on. When Anton makes a break for this group, Timothy, what do we see you doing?
I think I make a break for the vault.
Fine. So, you know, -3, -4, go, as it comes down that last floor. So let's start with Anton, because I think you're the one at potential risk here. So you have expertise as long as it's available. Stress dice is there, but you also have the deadly dice because you have the deadly expertise. And I think probably only one risk die at this point.
Okay.
You know, once they know you're there, outnumbering will kick in, but I think one risk die is at play so far.
That is a 5 on the expertise die.
It's not on the stress die. The risk dice is 3. Life is sweet. You take one of them out. Tell us what we see happening.
Yeah, it is literally just like as they're waiting, right? And I'm imagining these are guys in like sort of overalls and uniforms of some sort, right? With maybe like sidearms and
I like the idea they're dressed as caretaking staff.
Caretaking staff with maybe a couple of pistols and a
sidearm, one with an Uzi, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And obviously the Uzi guy is the guy who like he's waiting and he's looking at the door, the lift numbers going, and as it goes bing, you just see Anton appear behind it, and then it goes bing, sunk, bing. The other guy falls and Anton punches him, and then we're in combat kind of thing.
Fine. So of this handful, I'm counting one out. Timothy, you run for the vault. We'll come to you in a moment. 5th floor, Dylan, Mia. Dylan, what do we see you doing? You've kind of struggled Mia over towards the controls of the lift.
Yeah. And I will start like sort of maybe seeing if this is a moment where I can try to get a more personal connection with her, right?
Okay.
Because I mean, she is a lawyer. She's very successful, but she's also very good looking. That you have to notice that. I won't say that, but my eyes might say that, oh, I find this attractive now. We'll tell her that meeting her is a nice change of pace. Some of the regular people Throndal deals with, well, you've met them, I assume.
So her attention is on you. Let's have you maintain your cover. Disguise, persuasion, take your pick.
Yeah, I think it's persuasion, because more like I'm more like
charm.
It's more trying to flirt with her, actually.
Yeah, the disguise is blown, isn't it? Let's face it.
The disguise, I mean, this is a different disguise, isn't it? So yeah, I think I will risk stress for this. Because,
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, Mia's on the line. That will always be. Oh yeah, and I take. I take stress when yes, I do.
Yeah,
right?
Equal to or higher than. Up it goes by 1.
Okay.
But that is success. So her attention is on you
Okay.
as you're coming down that last kind of 10 feet before
Yeah.
it'll go ping and the doors will
Very
open.
good.
Mia, what are you doing?
So the doors are opening.
They're, you know, you've got 10 feet of drop, and then the doors will open on Anton doing stuff. What do you want to do, Mia?
If I can do so without yeah, what's her name again? Alicia?
Elishka's attention is
Elishka.
on Dylan.
In that case, I'm going to pull out my sidearm. You know, I'm going to keep it behind my back, but I'm going to have it out and ready.
Okay. And then ping, doors open, figure falls into the lift. First figure is down, and there's a blur outside as Anton does what he does best. What do you do when you see that, Mia?
I'm just going to relax. I mean, Anton is the best there is at what he does, but what he does isn't very nice. And, you know, when he's moving, I don't want to give him another target or get in his way. He's probably got all this mapped out like Batman or something. So
Elishka will back off to the back of this vehicle-sized lift. So she's now, you know, 15 feet away from Anton and what's going on outside.
She's not 15 feet away from me.
She isn't. If you want to follow her, what do you want to do?
I want to shoot her.
Okay, let's do that thing.
I mean, we're not here to be nice, and she doesn't suspect me.
a hostage might be useful.
No, well, shoot is
She
shoot.
can't do magic. I don't want to deal with a magic slinging warrior right now. No.
So let's have you roll with expertise. Stress dice if you'd like it, Dylan.
I think I might, yeah, and then I can spend intel to reduce my stress. I think I will, yeah. Okay, see how that goes.
That's a 5, not on the stress die. You hit her. Let me mark off a stress on Dimitrova. I mean, stress is plot armor. You know, the shot goes off, she cowers away. She's still got some stress left. Mia,
okay.
Stay in the lift, step out of the lift.
Right now, I'm going to tuck into cover inside the lift at the controls. And I just want to hit that button that's going to make sure the elevator stays exactly where it is.
Fine. You know, you hit the button that says keep the door open, but actually the doors keep being on the guy who Anton killed and slumped into the lift. So as long as that body is there and you're on that button, this lift isn't going anywhere. Timothy, this is a big ass vault door. You know, this is like this is like supervillain vault door stuff. So what do we see you doing, Timothy?
Just starting to like figure out where would the weak points be, where would you, because we don't have time to set up a diamond drill or something. We need to blow this thing, so it's a question of where could you put charges that could allow us to open it quickly.
I go for that. So let's have you roll intrusion to set this up.
Cool. I will add a stress die to that. So
You don't say.
3 dice.
No one has spotted you, so you're not at risk. Oh, you guys,
Double
another 6.
And not on the stress.
Not on the stress dice. So this goes perfectly. You know this model. You know, this is the same one the Pope has. And so you know the model, you know how to make this work. It just takes a bit of time. Gain intel, but you do have a bad feeling about this, Timothy. Would you roll for stress, please? Something tells you that if you open this vault, there's kind of no going back.
I roll a 4, and my stress is currently 3, so my stress goes up.
You know, what did the bishop say? Rely on, trust in your faith.
Yeah, but this is the mission.
Okay. Anton, cut back to you. There are 4 of these pawns still about.
Uh-huh.
Are you going to do what?
Yeah. I was just wondering, to clarify, with the priest thing, is that saying that Father Warren has to not do the mission? Because surely it would be like a leap of faith to go into the darkness,
No, he just has to trust his faith when he has a choice.
Yes, I see. Cool.
So I'm
cool.
just dropping faith now and again.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Because that's what you agreed with the bishop. You can't go back to the bishop
true.
until you demonstrate some faith.
And Anton is going to, call upon a higher power, as it were. And I think that, I'm going to use the darkness to inflict. Essentially, I feel that this is taking too long the old-fashioned way, and it's time to use bring some of that magic, I think, into the fighting. Move faster, maybe become harder to see, just stronger, faster, kind of like blood magic, my own blood magic.
Fine. Well, strangely, there's a pool of blood on the ground.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this sounds like influence or harm or mortal or supernatural in some way, using this. So you're using your mortal skills, but enhanced by the supernatural.
Yes. Yeah.
What does it look like or feel like when the darkness flows through you in this way, Anton?
I feel hungry. I feel powerfully just like ravenous, and just people just look like prey to me.
And the Netflix execs demanded that there was some physical way that the audience knew when you were in this place.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, aside from the fact that the music changes slightly, and then he starts to have the slight CGI special effects applied to him so that he's going much faster, and the slow motion
time.
One of them fires the gun and it's whoof. Let's see.
Okay, so you are rolling with expertise and the deadly dice. Stress if you want it, but there are 2 risk die on the table at this point. Hang on.
Do I not have to roll for confront? Because I would have thought that would be a confront the darkness roll.
Sorry,
instead of a melee roll, to do the same effect, and that's just the framing. Yeah.
Forgive me.
No worries. So I've marked the stress already. I don't put expertise in, so that's currently 1 die. And I will add the stress die to it. Now, is this a thing where there is a risk die in play?
There is. You are outnumbered, so I think there are 2 risk at play.
Okay. Okay. And that is a 6 on the stress die and a 6 on one of the risk dies.
Okay, so 6 on the stress die means stress goes up by 1, but this goes perfectly.
Do I mark intel as well?
You mark intel. You can take all of them out. But as we see this bullet time, dodging, the one of them dives with a submachine gun, the other guy dropped and just sprays across you, and some of that probably.
I think we see him snatch him with the gun as he hears a scream, and then the blood spray across him, right? And then he turns around and he whips and he fires out the guns, and then from behind him, Anton stabs him and he slumps forward, and Anton just goes, blinks his eyes, like the blackness goes away, and then reaches over to the bullet wound in his side, right, where he got caught by the blast. So do I take damage, injury?
You now roll for a consequence.
Roll for a consequence.
And this is an ordinary consequence, not a kind of magical consequence. So go to confront them and roll a d6. They are pawns, so you are rolling +3. So nothing can go wrong here in a way. It's just that a 6 might matter.
It's a 5.
+3.
It's a 2 + 3. So yes, 5.
Not a natural 6 though.
No.
Okay.
So I was lucky this time. It hurts, but I'll live. Wince and maybe pull it up and then go catch myself, and then just blink and clench a fist. Yeah.
Mia, you're kind of in the corner, at the front corner of the lift. You see all this go on. What do you do?
Is Alishka still cowering in a corner?
No, Alishka was thrown back when Dylan
Shot her.
shot her.
Right.
Alishka will do something in a moment.
I don't think I want Alishka to do something. I'm going to shoot her.
Okay, shoot Alishka. I don't think you're at risk from her because she's not armed. You're far enough away, so no risk die, expertise die, stress die if you want it.
All right.
Oh,
And that is a 6 on expertise and on stress.
So stress goes up by 1. God, you are all walking that bloody edge at the minute. Lots of 4 and 5 stresses across here.
And I've got an intel.
You do have intel. You don't have to roll for stress. It already went up by 1. You could inflict 2 stress on her.
Will that take her out of the fight?
Well, normally, contractors like her have 3 stress. So,
Okay.
But I can spend heat to turn 3 into 4 because I'm not done with Alishka yet. So yeah, you put a couple of slugs in her direction, and she's in trouble.
In her direction. Excuse me. If there's one thing I've learned from Dylan in our time at the range, it's aim center mass. 3 rounds, center mass, 15 feet. I mean, that's damn near point blank.
It really should have killed her. If only this wasn't a thriller. If only this wasn't Mission Impossible with vampires. Because then she reaches out towards the door of the lift, and you see the blood that's pooled under that body turning black. And then the body gets up. Cut to Timothy. Timothy, you're in the vault. You're through the vault door.
Oh, okay.
If you want to be, you rolled well enough. It's just whether faith and you have a bad feeling about this is a thing.
Oof. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I set everything up so that it's ready to go. But then I like peek out into the corridor to see what's going on.
Carnage.
Yeah.
And bizarrely, the first guy that Anton put down just got up.
Yeah, that's disconcerting. Yeah, I think, Timothy is going to ignore his bad feeling because this is the mission they agreed to do, and the others are busy, and he just has to do it.
Well, that just leaves the bishop off the table for consolation for a little while longer. So you're opening the vault, and you will be able to get into the vault. Anton, this guy is getting up.
Don't I get to do anything?
Sorry. I just want to make sure Anton knows they're getting up, because he's got this kind of bullet time thing going.
But I think that's passed in terms of
it has.
Moment,
I just you might want to do it again if you wanted to act first.
Oh no, I'm totally catching a breath, and then you see that body stand up behind me. Yeah.
Then let's go to Dylan, because Mia was the last person to shoot the lawyer.
So the lawyer's still alive?
Just about. I spent heat to give her an extra stress.
Well,
as the rules allow me to.
Yeah, sure. I don't dispute that the rules will allow you to do that, but I think I don't want her to be alive. I'll look at her and say sorry, and I shoot her again.
Okay, let's have you roll. Again,
do I have to roll? I mean,
I think so, because she's going to try to avoid getting shot.
Okay.
Even if she ends up throwing herself at you. I think there is the outside possibility that she will throw herself at you. So roll a risk die and see how that goes. 1 risk die.
Okay. Okay.
She's not going to stand in the corner and let you finish her off easily, I think.
Yeah, okay, I get. Yeah, isn't she? Damn it. Okay, let's see how that goes. That does not go great. No,
what a lot of
she throws herself.
Okay, so
a lot of 3s. Well, at least I don't take stress.
Yeah, small mercies. So yes. So on a 1 to 3, you fail or control may offer you a success at a cost. No, I'm not inclined to offer success at a cost this time. I think that Iliska has a charmed life. So you fail to put her down. There's a 3 on the wrist die, which means that in fact she does come at you and claws at you. Roll a d6. She is a contractor, so you don't add or subtract anything from the d6. High would be good. Pick a dice that likes you.
It's a 2. It's not good.
1 to 2. The consequences are serious. Tell control if it's mortal. You fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody. You'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment, or it's painful. You cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment.
I think it's painful. I don't want to die or crack.
Fine. Yeah, she bites your neck.
Oh no, damn it. I mean, I think I did even shoot her, but she just doesn't feel it because of the vampire blood in her. She should be dead by all rights, right? Because I'm close to her.
You weren't expecting her to launch her at your friggin' neck.
No, I was not expecting that.
She got inside the gun arm and went for her neck. Yeah. Mia, what do you do?
Shoot her.
Fine. I think that she's too busy chewing on Dylan's neck to worry about you. So you don't have a wrist die. So it's just.
I mean, I'm not just going to let this lawyer like mac on my friend and give him some sort of supernatural hickey. Come on.
What's that zombie doing though, Alan?
Coming to the zombie in a moment, because it must be said, Mia, that you are the nearest to the zombie.
Wait. Just a rules question because I forgot. Could I have used my anything to reroll stuff? Because
I'm struggling to see how a call on a contact is going to give you a reroll.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't think that your specialism could increase the outcome.
No. Fair? Okay. I guess. Yeah. Fair.
So Mia, a dead guy just stood up next to you, and a lawyer is trying to tear out Dylan's throat with her teeth. There is a simile for the real world there, but what do you do?
I figure if I get the lawyer that's chewing on Dylan, Dylan can get the dead guy that's standing up near me.
Okay, so you shoot the lawyer. Roll with expertise, stress die if you want it. No risk die because she's busy.
That's a 6 on stress.
Stress goes up by 1.
I would like to spend a stress to keep that from happening, or spend an intel to keep that from happening.
Okay. I should have asked you to do that first. But
okay,
fine. Intel goes down, stress stays where it is on 5. Mark intel, because you rolled a 6.
I will, instead of marking the intel, I'll just leave my character sheet the way it is.
Fine.
So stress and intel stay the same, but there's a 6.
Show me how you take down Iliska.
Well, it's actually quite an impressive bit of shooting, which I'm sure Dylan will respect, because Dylan is, this lawyer is chewing on Dylan and just bam, 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 right through the brain pan. So, the wall behind Iliska now looks like a Jackson Pollock work. And, she slumps to the ground.
And I think, Dylan looks away, his own blood, on his overalls, face spattered with brain matter. It's just, it's not looking good.
And I'll say, that's a good look for you, Dylan.
Yeah, good shot.
Hot.
Yeah.
And then there's the zombie, Anton.
I'm gonna, have this machete. I'm going to try and cut it into pieces.
Okay, let's have you do that thing.
Did I need to roll a wrist die?
I thought, sorry, yes, you do.
Yeah.
1, because you're at risk. 2, because it's supernatural. And 1, because it has teeth and claws. Yeah, so you're rolling 3 risk die.
Okay.
Ouch.
That is a 6 on the wrist die, and the highest of the one I have is a 5 on the expertise.
Okay, so you apply some stress to the zombie that she's created, the blood zombie, but you need to roll a d6 to work out if there's a consequence to worry about here. It's a supernatural, so you are subtracting 1.
I rolled a 5.
Go
So
down
that's
to
a
4, not a problem.
Yeah.
4 or better, painful, but no
yeah,
cigar.
you know, I chop an arm off and the other one smacks me across the room, right?
No, it picks up the arm and hits you with the arm.
Yeah.
Timothy, the vault contains a single it's like a clean room, and there is a single block of white marble on which sits a really cool looking computer.
Is it? I mean, is it a portable, or is it?
It looks like it's built into this block of marble.
Okay. Well, I'm not a.
And the marble does have the Throndal crest on it, by the way.
So computer. Okay. Well, I'm not a computer expert, but Mia is kind of busy at the moment. No, I'm not going to touch it. Not until both Anton and Mia has had a look at it. So I will have a look around the vault to see that there's nothing else in there, and then
Fine, I know what you're going to do. I'm just looking at the time. Do you want a 5-minute break now, or do you want to play through?
I can keep going.
I'm good to play through.
I can
Could
play
use a
through.
5-minute break.
Okay.
Let's take a 5-minute break then.
This would be our final break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, let's play through.
No,
No. Have a break. Yeah,
have a break. Yeah.
5 minutes. 13 minutes past the hour. See you in a
Works for
minute.
me.
Okay, back from our final break. And I was just out reminding the players that they are all on very high levels of stress, and they need to tell me now if they want to seek relief from the horror or spend some intel to reduce stress. So let's just, before we get back into the action, let's just check in on each one. Dylan, you're on 4 stress.
I feel not great, but yeah, no, I don't think I would need to relive any kind of past relationships right now.
Okay. Timothy, you're also on 4 stress. Do you want to seek relief from the horror?
I think I'm okay for now.
It's very unlikely that, well, in fact, it's impossible for you to go up in 2 stress in one on the basis of 1 die roll. So you're that isn't entirely true of Anton, though. Anton, you're on 5 stress.
Yes. I would like to, like I said, as I see Dylan's, bloods, maybe I crash into the wall next to Dylan, right? Like
Dylan's inside the lift.
Yeah, well, I jumped into the lift to fight the zombie.
Okay.
Of course, because it was staggering into the lift, and I came in through the gap before the doors shut, ding, behind me probably. And now we're locked in a lift with a zombie.
Far be it from me, but
yeah.
Seek relief from the horror.
Yeah. Okay, I'll roll the dice.
What are you after? Reveal some of our history.
Reveal some of our history. And I think I will go I'll remember a time they saved me, I think.
Okay, and is this Mia or Dylan? Dylan.
This is Dylan, I think. And I think the time was that they saved me was what's Dylan good at? Dylan is a talker and a half, aren't they? A disguise. I think that at some point when I was on the run and Mia was guiding me, I got caught by some goons while I was wounded, and they had me basically handcuffed. They were like corrupt police, and I was being bundled away, badly injured, and then at some point suddenly the driver just turned around and shot the other one, and then lifted up his cap, and Dylan introduced himself to me.
Okay, so reduce stress by 1 automatically and roll a d6.
I rolled a 4.
4 plus. The other operator describes a different version of the event. They say why they are hurt by it, and they roll for stress, or they choose to add something to about their anchor to their recollection. They mark their anchor instead. What's your preference, Dylan?
I've never done anything with my anchor, so I think I will do it this time, because in this instance, the thing that wasn't really the plan, right? This whole uncovering the corruption within the police department, that only happened because they were harassing Layla and her organization. And I was going in just to, I don't know, just to blow them up, or maybe, no, not what's the word? Not uncover their corruption for publicity. No, set one of them against the other, right? So they would fight amongst themselves and not have time for Layla or anything like that. And then I noticed them dragging this guy, this wounded guy around, and I didn't know who he was, but yeah, no, I didn't like that. They were, and I realized that, no, at some point I realized they were in the dark conspiracy stuff far more than I thought. And when I was going out to figure out what they were up to, I saw them with this guy and thought, well, this guy can probably tell me more about that stuff than these goons can. And if I shoot them, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad about them. They were harassing Layla's people, and harassing gay kids or queer kids is not okay. So yeah, I shot them, and then I took this Anton guy.
That's fine. Mark Layla as a conspiracy target. And I think probably have we ever seen Layla on screen? I'm not sure we have. Do you want to describe how we know the conspiracy is now interested in her?
Yeah, I think she uses she, her pronouns. I think we will see Layla, who is a trans woman. She's just closing up some sort of community center, I guess, or a community cafe for queer kids. Yeah, when she starts to leave, then there's a really pretty young woman. Like, she looks perky, right? She looks like the nice girl next door. And she talks to Layla a bit. And when she turns around, you see at her lapel, she wears the same pin as these lawyers from that law.
Oh, yes, rockstar stuff. Right. So, yeah, I think that Anton steps into the lift as he described. The zombie has stepped into the lift. And the door does go ping behind. So, Timothy, the lift has closed. And then Elishka's telephone rings. Does anyone pick it up? Dylan picks up Elishka's phone.
I think that should be me. Just pick it up and see what's happening.
And a cultured Czech accent says, Elishka, oh, don't worry. Ping, and the lift begins to go up. I thought the lift was stuck.
Is that Throndal? I mean, I've heard him before.
It could be Throndal.
I will say, well, Simon, the situation has changed a bit.
Elishka?
No, she doesn't take that much testosterone.
What I like that. Do you want to hang up on him, or do you want to wait for him to hang up on you?
I think I will hang up on him.
Fine. -5 to -4.
Mia, we're going up to Throndal. I don't know if that's where we want to go.
Timothy, you know, you've seen in the vault. You're looking for Mia and Anton to help, and as you go back into the main room, dead bodies, and the lift's just gone up to the fourth sub-basement. Do you hello?
Yeah, there's a computer in the vault, not portable. Do I start it?
Mia, what do you do? There's a zombie, Anton, Dylan, Elishka's phone, you. Mia, what do you do?
I like how everybody else got to reduce stress.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't get as far as you. I apologize. Mia.
That's okay.
No, I do apologize. Please, Mia, you do have an opportunity to seek relief from the horror.
Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
If I burn an intel along with this, can I reduce it by 2?
Intel will burn it by 1.
Okay,
Job
because
done.
yeah. So let's do that, because quite frankly, I don't like being at 5 stress.
Good. And do you want to seek relief to get you down below 4?
I do.
Go ahead.
Because as I'm listening to what Timothy is saying on comms, I'm remembering Sho shared a couple of legends with me, or at least they seemed like legends at the time. I mean, he wasn't talking about mainframe style computers, but he was talking about computers that in the modern day were basically built in place for predetermined purposes that, you may not always be aware of. So I'm thinking back to that and thinking about what Timothy just said and realizing this wasn't a myth. This wasn't a legend. I just don't know if Sho was giving me a heads up about something I might someday face because he'd already seen it and just didn't want to give that part of it away.
So that sounds like you've told us something about your anchor.
Indeed.
Reduce stress by 1, and I will mark Sho as missing. We cut to the safe house that you previously described, and where he lives, and a door is just banging in the breeze. And we go through that, and there's just nobody at home. Cut back to the lift. The elevator is going up. It's just reached -4. -3 is where Throndal is. What do you do,
what I'm
Mia?
doing, I'm stopping this elevator.
Okay. Technical strikes me as the simple way to do this. So you've got the tech toolkit, you've got the expertise. It is available, I think. Yes.
Yep.
Roll with expertise, stress die if you'd like it.
Indeed, I would. There's
Ooh,
4, and
and
it's
it's
not
not
on the
a
stress
stress
die.
The lift stops between 4 and 3. I'm almost tempted to say that there's just a little bit of the kind of crisscross grid door that you can just see out onto the 3rd sub-basement. Dylan, I'm conscious that you are out of you can't use your expertise until you get medical help. Are you interested in some medical help, or are you interested in the zombie?
Unless the zombie's down, right?
Or no, the zombie's lost an arm.
Down. Oh, okay.
I'm about to get to the zombie. There's just a lot going on in this lift. It's quite a big lift.
Okay. But Anton is on the zombie. Does
Anton's on the zombie.
Anton looks like he can take care of it, right? So, like, he's not missing an arm or anything.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, I mean, medical attention sounds like kind of nice. Can I do that myself?
All you have to do is to declare the medical kit, mark the gear slot, and then it's used. I
think I'll go ahead and do that, because getting on a zombie, I don't have a weapon that is very effective on zombies. And,
you've been bitten on the neck by a blood mage.
Yeah, thank you. No.
So far, no further.
Yeah.
Anton, zombie.
Yeah, same again.
Okay, so 3 wrist die, I think, as I remember. Even with 1 arm, and you've got all 3 of the middle dice.
That's a 5 on the expertise dice and another 6 on the wrist dice.
Oh my goodness me! The clock is ticking on this. So you again are hacking bits off this zombie, but it's kind of coming at you. And that 6 suggests it's got a good bite out of a chunk. Going to try and take a chunk out of you. Let's have you roll a d6. It is -1 because it's supernatural.
That's a 4 again.
Oh, you are sailing so close to some wind here.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, 4+. It's painful, but you'll survive. Mia, you stopped the lift. And you're the person who's not actively doing anything once you stop the lift. And I think we see, you can just see gorgeous Italian shoes pacing up and down beside a limo and a pair of really high class heels. What do you do?
I'm going to yell through that crack. I'm not related to Van Helsing. Jesus.
And what's your intention to do with the lift?
I'm going to keep, I want this lift to go back down.
Down. Okay. I won't make you roll again. I think you've got control of the lift. You stopped it. Now you can make it go down. Timothy, -5, -4, -5. And the lift opens, and there's a zombie fighting Anton. Let's go again, Anton.
I would love if when we land on the bottom of the floor, Anton and the zombie come tumbling out of the doors, like right in front of
Door
Timothy.
opens.
Yeah.
Zombie and Anton fall out.
Does Timothy help me out?
What do you want to do, Timothy? Oh, you are muted.
Yeah, is it this is obviously some not human thing at this point, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's beating him with its own arm.
Yeah. It doesn't seem exactly safe to shoot it, so Timothy will, I think I'll pull a knife and try to stab it in the brain or something.
Okay, let's have you try to stab it in the brain.
Do I need to declare a knife?
I think you probably do. I think it doesn't take up much room, so you shouldn't have a problem.
I should put in the pistol from earlier, so I'm out of it. That's in there somewhere. Handgun, yeah.
I've given you compulsion, addicted to human flesh, because that's fairly obvious. So yeah, try and stab it in the head. Do it. You have expertise.
Yeah.
And the stress dice.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you roll one risk die, because you could get some collateral here.
Oh.
Its focus is on Anton. A 6, not on a stress die, and a 1 on a risk die, so there is no consequence for you. And the 6 is it's the equivalent of a cold shot, which is a knife straight into the brain, and it goes down like a heap. And experience will now tell you that it is susceptible to a precise strike head, just for future reference for zombies.
Do I get intel for that?
You do, because that 6 is always a good thing. But of course, it is a zombie, Timothy.
Yeah.
So would you roll for stress, please?
I will do that. That's a 4. So and I had 4. So I say
no. This is kind of thing that Vatican saint hunters are trained for. And suddenly, there's hiatus. Anton is on the floor under a dead guy who used to be a zombie. Timothy is on top of him. Dylan is limping out with a bandage and a
He's
dressing.
typing on the phone. And he's sending a message to Throndal that reads, "Nice shoes. You want a hat to go with that? Call me later."
Oh, such arrogance. Mia, it's all been a bit hectic, but you're back on the ground floor and Timothy has told you there's a computer in that vault.
So I forget, did we decide that we wanted explosives for the safe house? If I remember correctly, okay. Yeah. I see Will nodding. I don't like this elevator. I want it gone. So I figure I I mean, I am loaded for bear. I chose the heavy loadout. I'm figuring I've got at least a kilo or two of C4 in here.
So what are you wanting to achieve here? What do you want the outcome to be? Just so I've got a picture in my head.
I want to send a charge up in the elevator, which I know probably isn't going to kill Throndal, but I want to destroy the elevator and basically collapse the shaft so Throndal can't get down.
Okay. I think that's quite a complicated one, but I'm prepared to go with, a 6 will give you both of those. Anything else will give you a choice. So, block the shaft or attack Throndal will be the choice if you only get one success, okay? An ordinary success.
That's totally fair. I can already tell you what I'll go with if I only get
I'm
one.
guessing that I know. So, and you're going to do that before you investigate the computer?
Yes.
Fine. While Mia is setting that up, Dylan, are you doing anything or just sitting tight and breathing deeply?
No, I mean, there's dead people around. They have stuff. I'm not looting for monetary gain, but they might have information.
Okay. So I will let you roll to investigate. Let's do that now. See if a 6 yields an intel.
Okay. Do I have expertise on them because of tradecraft?
Oh, tradecraft. Yeah.
Okay. Because I
forget
freed
about
up my and I don't stress myself for that one.
Okay.
Because
you've done enough.
I mean Mia might blow the elevator and Throndal might come after us. And also this is mainly me looking for phones and stuff like that. It's not very stressful, I think. Let's see. That's 2 3s. I don't find nothing.
Tinkering with the phone, and I think somewhere somebody's going to get a flash photograph, a blurry photograph of you as you're examining a phone. So I'll mark heat.
Okay,
but you get nothing, no benefit on that.
Hopefully it's at least my good side.
Anton, anything, or are we just waiting for Mia to rig it and then look at the computer?
I think we are waiting for Mia to rig it, and the plan is, of course, that we're going to go out through the basements now, through the tunnels. But we do have a dead blood mage and a dead blood zombie here. While Mia's rigging the thing, Anton will have dragged the body out and will be just turning it over with the flat of his blade. And I'm going to use my lore to see if there's anything I can work out for ritualistic markings or whatever.
Yeah, let's have you roll to investigate.
That is a 5 on the thing.
So I mean, I'm inclined to say, let's not have you ask a specific question. Let's just give you an intel. Does that seem fair? Because unless you have something specific you want to ask me.
I was thinking I could spend my specialism of librarian to turn it into the equivalent of a 6, and then I'd get the opportunity to mark in. No, I wouldn't mark intel anyways, but I can. You will answer 2 questions. So I'd like to take the intel and also ask a question if that works. On that,
what you could do is you could spend your expertise, your specialism, turn that into a 6. I'd give you 2 intel.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless you have a specific question you want me to answer.
No, I was thinking I'd like to maybe they could reveal something about one of our supernaturals here, perhaps.
Okay.
I'm trying to wonder if I could maybe work something about the type of vampire Throndal is from his blood servant puppet.
I'm struggling with that, to be honest, because I can't see how a body's going to give you that.
No, nor any of the markings or anything. I will just keep the intel. Perhaps what I find is a ritualistic markings that are on her, and I make note of them, and then that's my intel to study up for later that may reveal something about Throndal.
Fine, yeah. That works for me. Some tattoos or something, yeah. So Mia, let's have you roll to blow up a lift shaft.
Alrighty. So do I
expertise counts?
Yeah, gray die, stress die. Does deadly / explosive count?
It does, because you're using explosives.
Okay. So that's 4 dice.
It is. You don't get to roll 4 dice that often. Oh, and when you do, you expect better than a 3.
So can I re-roll?
Well,
Like
now,
I noticed that there's something wrong with the charge, the way that I positioned it or something
Now.
like that.
you could call our contact, an explosives expert, who warned you that, do it this way, not that way, and get a reroll.
All right.
Could also spend your specialism because he's a Sparks.
Oh, you're a Sparks. Yeah, so you are. Just mark your specialism and improve the outcome.
So that would
Okay.
be a
Well
success.
remembered, Will.
Yeah, I just did it. So
Once per operation, once per cycle of play, mark specialism. That becomes a 5, a 4 or a 5. So that works beautifully. But you get either attack Throndal or block the shaft.
Oh, I'm collapsing the shaft.
Okay.
We don't have to worry about Throndal for, I'm presuming, the rest of the operation because of how we came. I know they came in a different way, so we can go out that way.
Exactly. No, Throndal is there for you to have a crack at, or you could wait until you got this operation for intel. Timothy, are you doing anything at this point, or waiting for Mia to get to the computer?
I think I'm keeping watch, basically, guarding the way to, or how close are we to the wall where we made the hole?
Probably a couple of 100 yards. Not an enormous distance.
No.
In fact, why am I messing about? 10 feet.
Yeah.
No, it has to be longer than that, or they'd have heard the explosion. So yeah, a couple of 100 yards.
Yeah. Then I will stick close by, but keep watch down that tunnel in case something shows up there.
Okay. So all eyes on Mia, I think, then. And this computer built into this solid block of white marble, with a Throndal crest carved into the front of it.
Interesting. So I'm curious here. I have intel.
You do?
I mentioned that Cho had told me about such a thing. Is there anything that I can do with that intel?
Not really. Intel is intel on the conspiracy. So not really on tech stuff that isn't particularly conspiracy related. I think what I can tell you for nothing is that this is what that data infrastructure was. This is connected to the 8th floor. This is some kind of very secure data portal stroke storage.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, because I just looked at what I can do with intel, I'm going to spend 1 intel to recover my expertise.
Do that thing.
Because that might be useful.
Yes.
I think your expertise was already available.
Oh, really? I'll believe you if you tell me.
Oh, specialism.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't do anything with the specialism, sorry.
Okay. In that case, I don't need to spend any in there.
And I'll be honest, the sparks won't help you with hacking.
Gotcha.
It's stuff.
All right. So here we go. Rolling with expertise, grade I, and stress. 6 and 6 on stress.
If only 2 was worth more than 1. 6 on the stress die, stress goes up by 1, gain an intel. And I think that reflects the fact that the kind of countermeasures that this has is kind of government grade.
It's
not enough
beyond
to keep you
government
out.
grade.
It's just, again, I go back to 1993 and I'm running Cyberpunk 2020. This is the blackest of black ice.
Yes, this is way above government grade. This is security developed by a hacker.
Yeah.
And I know this because I get into government systems all the time.
All the time.
This is a challenge. This is fun.
So for a 6, you mark intel.
Which I've done, and I've marked my stress.
You've marked stress, so we don't have to roll for that. But the way I'd like to play this is rather than telling you what's in there, I'm just going to give you 2 intel.
Okay.
2 more intel, to reflect.
In addition to the roll.
The secrets, yeah. the secrets that you extract from here, assuming that's
Okay.
what you do.
Oh, I want to extract everything and dump it to a flash drive.
Fine.
So
And then the way we'll play that in debrief is we'll go through how much intel you spend to find out stuff about Throndal, really.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I am conscious that we are getting close. I thought we might get all the way out of this, but I think what we might be looking at next time is debrief from this, and then a fairly swift confrontation with Throndal, because that's what we're all aiming for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's what I'm aiming for.
Okay. So I'm inclined to say at this point that would be a good point to break, unless anyone wants to do something else. Dylan?
No, just send the message, and I'll take the SIM card out of the phone, but I will at a later point, and when I'm at a cafe somewhere far from the safe house and anything, I will put it back in and see if I have an answer.
I think an appropriate response here is to give you a point of intel on the basis of initial
Okay.
phone.
Cool.
Yeah. Anton, you've got point of intel on the basis of the search. And I think, Timothy, you can have a point of intel because because I just think that this tells you something. The nature of that vault tells you something about the conspiracy, the nature of the conspiracy, or at least this arm of it. That seems to me to be a suitable set of rewards for what has been quite a torrid couple of hours. And so we will cut to you emerging from a sewer, a couple of miles away where Timothy and Anton went in. Yeah?
Yeah.
There is one last thing I'd like to do.
Go on.
Just as we're coming out, it's like, oh, crap. And I click the button or the power interrupter and say, almost forgot.
Lovely. And so we'll call it that point for today, I think. I'm beginning to wish I had a fifth session, but I don't think I'm going to have one. So we'll cut at that point. So a quick stars and wishes would be nice, if that's okay. Let me stick with the order I started with at the start. So that goes to Scott. Any stars, any wishes?
Oh, this session was so much fun. I mean, I was kind of surprised when Dylan just went straight to shooting the lawyer. Getting to see Anton really in action, really do his thing was awesome. And Timothy, actually kind of stuck with the plan this time. I mean, didn't just say, I'm getting a bad feeling about this, I'm going to go do something different. And the bit with the shade was, that was almost kind of heartwarming in a strange way. So it was a lot of fun. I loved how we saw everybody's character got more defined. Alan, you did a fantastic job of GMing this and keeping the tension up and ratcheting the tension up even further. So it was a lot of fun. Wishes? Let's kill Throndal.
Okay. Anders, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, stars, much the same as Puckett said. I really enjoyed seeing everyone do their thing. It was a lot of fun. I also enjoyed the bit with the shade and this weird vault. I was not expecting a computer. That was the last thing I was I was expecting in there. So that was fun. Yeah, looking forward to the next session.
Well, anything particularly you want to see in the next session?
Nope.
Then we'll go with that flow. Will, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I loved Dylan's when do I get paid con job. That was great. That was great off the cuff thinking. I loved the bit with the shades, the fight in the lift, like a messier Captain America. I quite liked the that I was able to use the magic in that way, right? Like as inflicting it as harm and it just being like, well, rather than I cast lightning bolts or whatever, right? Like it just frame it as however you want. it did occur to me I could use magic to kill the zombie, but I was like, well, I kind of want to just hack it to pieces because of the stress cost, and hopefully at some point one of the other 3 player characters can help me out. But yeah,
I mean, I do want you to think about the balance in the magic, because obviously we were playtesting it, and it strikes me as something that you should want to keep for the big deals or impressive stuff.
well, it occurred to me that like if I'd been clear that I could have declared like an autos SMG, right, and then I could have mowed down the people in the lift area, and it would have been 1 roll rather than 3.
I think how it plays as harming someone, I don't think is quite right yet.
Yeah, but I did enjoy it anyways, and it was fun to think of other ways I could use it. Wishes. I'd like to really use all of our intel to create vulnerabilities for Throndal, stack up a nice, like take out vampire hunt scenario, like a location, a method, a way to make him vulnerable or isolated or exploit his desires, like his greed for things, maybe a secret crypt in Morovia or whatever, right? Well, I was thinking we'll probably spitball some of that at the start. Like I was thinking along the lines of like the soil, like that compulsion to sleep in the soil. But I don't know. You've got things planned. So
rather than opening the box on that, what I thought we might do is between now and then, we might flesh out the op in the chat. Just so we can do that in advance, and then just add to that basic outline.
Yeah. I just don't want to step on the stuff because you've got some semi-prepared. So if you've got anything semi-prepared for this, then I don't want to.
I to be honest, I have nothing prepped apart from Throndal's stats. There's a question in the chat. No, you don't uncheck specialism until we get to debrief and downtime, and we'll do that live next time.
I'm done. Sorry for rambling on.
No. Welcome. Sabine, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, lots of stars. This was a fun session. I liked seeing Timothy and Anton in the walls, the whole thing with the shade, and when there was a bit of tension as to what they actually wanted to do with that shade. I liked seeing Anton use his powers. And that last bit when he licked the blood from his hand and was like, "Oh, what am I doing? Damn!" I like that part. And Mia's always very great, and her sending up the C4 elevators from that was really nice. I like that one. And what my wishes I want. I wish I could flirt with Throndal a bit. Just maybe for distraction or to get him somewhere where we need him. We can chat about this.
Well, we know he's looking for Yelena.
Yeah, and right. We do know that.
Maybe there's some. I don't know how you get there. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe there's some angle there that we can. Yeah. Let's chat about that. I like that. Yeah. Looking forward to next time.
Stars from me. I love that Timothy thought twice about what to do with the shade. And faith practicality. I'm enjoying bringing that back on occasion. It was great, the description of Anton finally harnessing the darkness. That was lovely. I like that. I love that, the interplay between Dylan and Mia when Dylan pulls I was told I'd get paid for this. I was not expecting that. I was expecting some kind of, conflict with Dimitrova up there. I was interested in throwing Dimitrova at the non-magic and, seeing how Anton would get it. I didn't know. Anyway, and Mia, it's never too late in an op to send some C4 up in a lift. It ought to be written in the rules. At the end,
as Atomic Robo said, everything explodes.
Okay, that was great, folks. I will stop the recording